Taurus, I'm here to get you some messages from Spirit where we look at a little deeper side of life and aren't so fixated on the mundane, although certainly mundane matters can come into a read like this, but we'll be looking at things from a more meaningful, purposeful kind of angle, talking a bit more into the energetics at play in a situation and how you can really align yourself with your path of purpose. This is for any significant Taurus placement, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, North Node, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Pluto, or if you have a prominent placement in that second house or you're a Scorpio rising, that makes you a Taurus descendant and you may find resonance with this read. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Spirit, what does Taurus need to know right now? What do you want Taurus to know right now, Spirit? What is the path of heart for Taurus right now, Spirit? What does Taurus need to know right now? I'm working with my big deck here that's got several oracle decks combined. So we're going to be, doing this a little bit differently than I normally do my other reads because this just has to be handled differently. Maybe you're dealing with a situation like that. Interesting. Maybe this just needs to be handled differently than you've dealt with situations before. I say that because we have against the grain here. Okay. So there's something that's a little bit out of the ordinary or where you feel a little bit out of your element. I mean, you are earth element and this is diving deep in some waters here. Okay. It's interesting too that I said that because out of your element and yet there's birds in the water here. So yeah, I think there's something about feeling like you're in kind of unfamiliar territory and the way that you need to move forward is a little bit out of the ordinary. You might also feel like you're getting a lot of messages sort of bubbling up from your subconscious. These can be subconscious memories that were repressed, from a time in your life when maybe you were too activated to look at that back there. And so it's still there. It's still there latent. These might be activated when you go to sleep at night. You might be processing a lot of old stuff in your dreams. But I feel like this is also sort of carving out a very unique path for you moving forward that has you moving a bit against the grain. Okay. It's not the easiest way for you to go. And yet you're willing to kind of brave it. I feel like you're willing to be a little bit of a fish out of water and look at something in a new way and take a new approach. It might be uncomfortable for you to take this new approach, and you might feel like you really are just, trying to get your sea legs in this situation. But I think that you're meant to move forward in this way. All right. There's something that moving forward in this direction, although initially uncomfortable, will eventually bring you a lot of peace. Okay, let's see what we got here. Yes, look at this. Dvara Patra. Okay, so you have some Ace of Cups coming your way, some fulfillment that wants to pour into you, and this happiness that wants to come into your life. But I do feel like it has a bit to do with the directional reroute here. You need to reset the compass rose of your heart so you can be very clear about what truly is the best for you. There's the wings in the background. So we have a lot of bird imagery coming in for you. So this is something about freedom, finding a new sense of freedom in your heart, finding yourself sort of maybe even leaving the nest. This could be a home that for a while you've been very comfortable in and you're being asked to, branch out. Maybe you're thinking of moving to a different area, or you're wanting to travel in a different social circle, or this feels very rootsy to me for some reason. So it feels like you're wanting to maybe move into expansion. You know that, a new direction could have the potential to bring a lot of happiness into your heart and into your life. And at the same time, I do feel like it's not the most comfortable opportunity to take here, right? There's something about you first getting really centered in your heart and getting clear about what's really going to support you in the long term, what's going to give you the most sense of freedom and happiness and fulfillment in the long term. It might mean that initially you have to make some kind of compromise in order to head in this direction. And you might feel a little out of your element, but I do think you're going to find your direction here, and it brings some new beginning. And for some of you, that's coming up in love, you know. There could be an emotional offer about to come your way. Somebody wants a new beginning with you in love. It could be that this requires you to cover some distance. Maybe this person's at a distance. Maybe things have felt different between you and this person. And I'm picking up right now that this distance, this emotional distance, or having to travel a distance to come together with someone you love, it doesn't have to be a romantic partner necessarily. This could be a family member. This could be a very dear friend. This could be somebody that you're meant to align with that's going to open up a whole new dimension of experience on your path and actually, you know, shine the light back into your life, bring a lot of happiness into your life where maybe things have been a little bit rough lately. This could be because of some arguments, some falling out, not being able to see things the same way as others. This could also be that you're just doing something that requires you to move in a position that's not very comfortable for you. I mean, Taurus can be a creature of comfort, so to have to do something outside of your comfort zone can really cause a lot of, you know, inner disruption for you initially. But the thing is it's sort of like when you're learning how to swim, right? When you first learned how to swim, there might have been a lot of fear at first, but you learned it wasn't too hard if you just remember, okay, jump, hold your breath, and just kick, you know, kick. And you'll figure it out, you know, and you do, you know, and we come from that water in the amniotic fluid when we're being held in our mother's womb. So it's like there's a part of us that remembers how to have that kind of buoyancy. There's a part of us that remembers how to swim, you know, through life. And maybe you've been in too much of a stuck position. Maybe there's some opportunity that's been presented to you, but in some way it goes against the grain of what feels comfortable for you. 8 on the clock. And so because of that, you're like automatically shooting it down because it feels uncomfortable when actually you're meant to like dive into it. And if you dive into it, what you'll discover along the way that what you thought was like this comfort was actually somewhat of a gilded cage. You're going to feel so much more freedom. And it's like it invites this expansion into your life. It brings this new happiness into your life. And I feel like it also unites you in a connection with somebody significant that you're meant to like link up with. And again, this could be anybody, but I do feel like it's an important person on your path. I do feel it's a soulmate, and a soulmate can come in many different forms, not just romantically. So if you're already in a relationship and you're really happy in your relationship, it's not talking about a love relationship for you. It is a collective read, okay? So broaden your perspective, broaden your mind. This could be an important teacher coming onto your path. This could be somebody that you're going to work with, you know, that's going to open up a whole new avenue of career fulfillment for you. This could be a dear friend that you haven't seen in ages. This could be a family member that lives at a distance and you really just miss having that regular connection with them, okay? So open your mind. I do feel the two are one. Like, these may seem like two different things, but they're not. And once you bring this together and you know, just dive in and you start kicking and you swim, and maybe you gotta like, you know, prepare yourself, you know, for the shock of that cold water when you first, you know, jump in. It sort of activates all your senses. I do feel like it's going to do that for you. It's going to like wake you up where you've kind of been in a place of sort of inertia, like you don't even realize how much you've really been keeping yourself out of the flow of life, like what it really means to be alive. And it was 10 on the clock. So I do feel like there's something that's coming to a close for you, and it's creating the opportunity for you to move forward in a new direction that brings all kinds of gifts with it that you just don't see right now, okay? But if you take the leap, if you dive in, though it might be a little uncomfortable at first, I feel like you'll be really glad that you did. You'll find the water more inviting than expected, all right? And yes, you have protection. You might be thinking about all the things that can go wrong. You might have even been dealing with some challenges lately. Maybe you felt like you were in a bad luck cycle. Some of you may have felt a little bit like maybe something was getting in your way, thwarting your way. This could be, you know, somebody just causing challenges for you. In some cases, you even felt like maybe, you know, you were dealing with some mischievous spirits. I feel that like maybe there's been some weird things going on at home, just odd little disruptions, things coming up missing, things breaking, 11:11 on the clock. So somebody's been dealing with that a bit. If you've been dealing with that and you're somebody who does a lot of manifestation work, you might want to kind of like clean up, you know, any remnants of workings you have laying around. You might also want to do more purification, more spiritual purification, up your smoke cleansing. I got Palo Santo and Copal coming in for that, okay? It'll invite in a certain sense of warmth, also a comfort of love, and it really brings the ancestral energy around you. I feel like you get a lot of strength from your ancestors. I feel that that's something that is kind of like calling to you right now. You might feel like you got an ancestor sort of like, you know, tugging on your consciousness, and they're letting you know like, hey, you would be wise to do a little boundary protection there. All right. So I am picking up, bringing in Copal and Palo Santo for that. And also just cleaning up any altar spaces, clearing out, you know, the remnants of those candles that you burn for those of you who do any kind of manifestation work. And this can also be just clearing away mementos, things that you've held on to that kind of keep you energetically attached to an old time in your life that maybe doesn't have the best memories associated with it. And I don't know why I'm getting this, but there might be like some antique that you've recently acquired. It feels like it's something you more recently acquired. You might want to do some kind of like cleansing on that antique, because this energy, this sort of, it feels like almost trollish kind of energy, like little mischievous energy. It's not anything to be afraid of, but it just causes kind of like breakages, disruptions, things kind of going awry in the home. It might be connected to this antique item. All right. So I encourage you to maybe cleanse it a little bit if you've recently gotten something or were gifted something. All right. Or someone passed something down to you. All right. I got that too. For the pass something down to you, I'm getting almost like a locket is what I'm seeing, is kind of coming to my mind's eye there. All right. This could be something that you received from a lover or somebody that you have an attraction to. It might even be like a family heirloom, something that came from them, okay? Or was like something that belonged to their wife who had passed on, something like this. You know, it feels, it's got that kind of vibe to it, right? But what we have here is the magnetism of Eros, all right? There might be somebody that you feel very drawn to, and at the same time, you feel like, though you're drawn to this person, as you start to move in this direction, you also start to see things kind of like go awry in your life. And it may make you wonder if you're making the right choice about this person, despite the chemistry and the intense, like, draw to this person, because you feel like every time I start to move in that direction, or I open myself up to coming together with this person, things start to go awry. I start dealing with more challenges in my life. It doesn't flow. There's always something that feels obstructive along the way. Very interesting. Okay. And let's do one more cut here. And then I'm going to do a final cut to the left. And we'll look at the top card on the right at the end to close off the read after I get a view here. Yes, there's some kind of guidance you've received about this, all right, with receiving here. I feel like there's some kind of wish fulfillment that wants to come in for you, but you have to have the willingness to take it in, all right? You have to have the willingness to take it in. And there's something you're receiving, it feels like more of like kind of spiritual guidance coming in. I'm picking up guidance from the angels. You might feel a real connection to Archangel Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel may have been coming in for you recently. You may have even been drawn to the color yellow or like kind of golds, you know, and maybe you're not normally drawn to golds. Maybe you're not normally drawn to that color yellow, but this has been coming in for you. You've been finding it very magnetizing. I feel that's because Archangel Gabriel is near you and is providing you some kind of support and guidance on this relationship that you feel very drawn to. I do feel like there is some kind of wish fulfillment that is coming through here for you, but you just have to be willing to kind of soften a little bit, because this receiving is a place of emotional receptivity. It's about being open. Again, this is coming up. You've been moving against the grain, and usually when we're moving against the grain, it's because there's some kind of fear in the way, or we're being really stubborn about something. We're not open, you know, we're in a very like locked, fixed position. And then we can't have this wish fulfillment. We can't have these blessings that Spirit wants to bring onto our path because we're blocking the way. And at the same time, we're like, why is nothing working? Well, it's because, you know, there's something you're ignoring here. There's some kind of guidance that you're ignoring here. And there's something that you're actively blocking. I feel like there's like a real reticence to let down the guard or to soften the heart. And this might be in relation to past experiences. Okay. But if you just open yourself up to receive, there's some wish that you made upon a star a while ago, perhaps on a dark, starry night out in nature, maybe at the coast when you were staring at the sea. And this wants to become a reality for you. You might start finding feathers, white feathers on the ground as confirmation that, yes, this is the right direction for you to head in. And your wish is about to come into fulfillment, but you have to be open to receiving it. And, you know, it's interesting. Sometimes when we make a wish, we don't think about everything that has to happen and get moved around to align us with that wish. And it was 18:11 on the clock when I brought that in. So yes, there's, you know, there's some, you know, otherworldly forces at work here that are sort of, you know, setting up the path ahead for you that you're meant to align with, that will bring through this wish fulfillment. But at the same time, it does mean that you may feel out of your element as things get lined up. You don't get to choose the way the wish unfolds. It never works out like that. And often it's kind of funny. The wish usually tends to come through after you've already given up on it. So there might be some peace about this, about some wishes preparing to come through for you that might first introduce itself into your life through some uncomfortable change you have to make, okay? But you make the change, and then the next thing you realize is, oh my gosh, if I wouldn't have taken the leap, if I wouldn't have been willing to be like outside of my element or move outside of my comfort zone, I never would have been in the right place at the right time to have this wish fulfillment come through. That's what I got. Okay, we're going to do a cut here to the left. I'm going to set aside this deck here. Okay, this part of the deck, and we're going to get shuffled through here just to see what other messages want to come on through for Taurus. What does Taurus need to know at this time, Spirit? What messages do you have for Taurus at this time, Spirit? What does Taurus need to know at this time, Spirit? What is coming through for Taurus at this time, Spirit? Whoa, okay, we got quite a bit. And it's interesting, just like Aries. You might be dealing with an Aries. There could be an Aries in the mix that factors in here. You got wolf totem here showing up on the back of the card, okay? Crossing influence, It's connected to the Arcane BS deck, the Paulina Tarot, and this glow in the dark tarot here. Okay, so I'm going to take the top card of all three of these decks, and then you got a whole stack here that also landed across these two tarot decks. So we're going to look at the top cards of these three decks as well as these cards. Before I see that Pathfinder, I want to see what we have here. Sacrament of Extreme Unction. So yes, there is something here about releasing what's been blocked up in the heart, so there can be a clear channel for you to see clearly the vision for moving forward. You might have shut down so much that when we shut down our emotions or what we're feeling, it can be hard for us to really receive the guidance that wants to come through for us, because it requires us to be in that sensitivity, in our feeling nature. And also when we're looking at the heart chakra, anahata, that's about our ability to receive. So there's something that wants to come in here and illuminate for you that it's safe for you to let go. It's safe for you to trust. It's safe for you to head into this direction. And actually, it's going to really pour into your heart and illuminate something you couldn't see before. Okay, so I do feel like, again, look at this, skull of light, illumination. Yes, you may feel like it's an ending or it's something negative that you have to, move in this direction. It feels very uncomfortable for you. It feels like a death in some cases. It feels like you're letting go a part of yourself or something that, has become a real fixture in your life, but it's what illuminates the way forward for you. It might help you to kind of like calm your mind a little bit. I feel like you can start to gain more access to a clearer sense of vision, 2211 on the clock, that will help bring you into alignment with this and the truth of this, that will make you feel like, okay, I feel ready to head in this direction. If you connect with meditation, you have Spirit Bear of 396 hertz here. So I do encourage you to bring 396 hertz into your home environment, just to create a sense of calm around you and to help you move into meditative state. And if you're somebody who doesn't like the idea of meditating, 2244, some of you find it very difficult, okay? You can also, put on the headphones, put on 396 hertz and go for a walk out in the sunshine and just get some fresh air and allow yourself to have a walking meditation, have a meditation in motion. I feel that you very much need to enter this space so you can have this inspiration come in for you that illuminates something you couldn't see before. You do this, and through whatever you have to let go, you get to experience a transformation. We have karma of Kutuhala, so you are closing up a major karmic cycle, and much like Aries, you are experiencing an ending that is bringing with it a new beginning. But first, there's this process of rising up out of the underworld, okay? So you're in that deep dive of Persephone right now, where you're sort of struggling with some lower nature aspects of yourself. We know that Persephone does the deep dive. She eats the pomegranate seeds so she can go and hang out with Hades. And, I always say Persephone knew exactly what she was doing when she ate those pomegranate seeds. Like, she found the devil delicious, okay? So there is something here too that I feel there's a certain temptation. It doesn't have to be a person, okay? It can just be a habit. It can be a way of being. It can be a belief that you have that really does keep you in this place of not being able to move into the expansion of really receiving the blessings that want to come in for you. And I feel like you're still kind of wrestling with this a little bit, but there's something about Persephone, and that's that eventually Persephone does rise, and she rises as core in the spring. So I feel like there might be some opportunity for you to rise up out of this habit, this unhealthy connection, this belief that you have that's kept you in sort of like a stagnant place, I feel, okay? And it gives you an opportunity to breathe new life into your life. And this is where the growth will come in. And there's like a new beginning here. There could be a new beginning connected to a mother in your life, all right, with that Empress energy. It could also be that you're moving into a real creative cycle that is going to have you looking at things differently. You may even have some kind of creative project you bring forward in the spring that's result of all this internal shadow integration work you've done, okay? Or whatever you release here opens up a new path in the spring that again has you stepping into a huge time of growth. It's outside of your comfort zone, but it also really preserves what's meaningful for you, and it brings a lot of reward into your life. And then the rest of the cards we have here are all from the Halloween Oracle, as well as your confirmation card for the cut of the deck is the Halloween Oracle. So there might have been something that went down this past Halloween that was very significant for you, that kind of stirred some things up for you. But we have Al, wise seeing, wise action. So with Al coming in here, it is about having the ability to see through the dark, to see through the illusion, to see through the things within ourselves, you know, in our subconscious, the stuff that's holding us back, the way we block ourselves, the way we, you know, put ourselves in these positions that don't allow us to grow into the kind of life we want to be living. We'd rather stay safe, you know, and dream about what's possible than really do what's required to move into that. But I see there's something you're learning here. There's also something you're learning about deception, ways others have deceived you, ways that you already knew that you were being deceived, but you allowed yourself to buy into the lie because, again, it was more comfortable than challenging the status quo and going against the grain. This theme coming in for you, the ways that you want to make things comfortable, even when you know it's not correct, okay? So there's something that you're seeing very clearly here. And this is going to move you into the right course of action that leads you to a place of synergy and healing, okay? And there is something that you'll cook up from this point that's going to be very nourishing for you. All right. But right now, you need to do this clearing work because I do feel like there's something that is getting in the way of you having clear vision. We have skull of darkness. You got a blind spot here. All right. Again, a note that if you've done any workings, any vigils, you know, you got old candle remnants laying around, there's something here that you need to clean up so you can have clear sight. And again, we have scrying, okay? Yes, so you can activate your intuition and you can see clearly how to move forward. Maybe in a very special connection, I'm noticing two flames here, okay? So this can be, you know, that person who matches you, you know, it could be somebody who's very significant in your life that you're wanting to experience some kind of healing, alignment, synergy with, but something needs to be transformed here. And in order for you to be very clear about that, you first need to clear your vision so you can see clearly and kind of move some old stagnant energy. I feel like from a time in the shadow out of your sphere. Yes, we got Garuda, Suparna. Okay, so this is all about having that vehicle that moves you forward. It's very much chariot energy. And Garuda is associated with Vishnu and Lakshmi. So this is blessing energy that wants to move you forward. I feel there's something about moving forward and you're resisting it. Maybe somebody's presenting an opportunity for you to move forward in a certain direction or to step through a certain door of opportunity. But because you're in your comfort zone and you don't want to deal with the discomfort of sort of the upheaval or moving in a direction where you're a little bit out of your element, you're preventing all this abundance and blessings that want to come into your life. You just need a little bit more perspective here. Eagle energy as well is also about great spirit, okay? It's about allowing yourself to really trust how you're being spiritually guided at this time, the messages that you're receiving, so you can really move forward toward this. You should act on this because there's so much radiance it's going to bring into your life. Now let's see what it's about here with these cards. The Chariot, there it is right now. Yeah, I see. You feel like this move is disruptive, all right? And Chariot here is associated with the sign of Cancer. It's also very much connected with the idea of home with the mother. So there could be a mother factoring into this situation. There could be a home issue factoring into this situation. You could be dealing with a fire sign, an air sign. In this situation, there could be like, you know, diverging opinions. You could feel drawn in one way by your passions, and then your intellect is telling you something else. There's a need to get the balance here to clear out the blind spot so you can actually move forward, because you are being presented a direction that's in alignment with your spirit here. Let's see what else we got. Ace of Swords, that's the truth. And, you know, I shuffled this deck in between because Aries also had cards come up crossing these two decks. So it's interesting that Ace of Swords would come up again. So there might be an Aries in connection to this, just to have that come in, or this might be something that goes down in Aries season. You could also have a strong Aries placement in your chart, and there's a need for you to marry that truth, okay, with the fire. So you can actually like shoot a shot towards a goal and hit a target. If you do, you'll move forward successfully. Like, I don't know what's going to be with the Arcane BS deck here. Okay, we got the filthy mattress. So what this tells me is a couple things. I feel like you're holding on to too much old stuff in your space. And there's a need to clear out, you know, the old energy for sure. I do feel like a lot of the energy that you're experiencing in your home environment that feels like a little disruptive or like a little mischievous, it's connected to a particular item. If you have a mattress that you shared with an old lover that you're still sleeping on, you might want to get a new mattress, okay? Because you could feel still attached to this energy. And that energy can be almost like a hungry energy. You know what I'm saying? I'm noticing the rats here and the seagulls. That's kind of like scavenger kind of energy. So if you've been feeling sort of drained and you feel like you still have a connection to an old lover that you're trying to release, but you're still sleeping on a mattress you shared with them, you might want to look at clearing that out. I do feel there's this message here, though, of potentially hoarding, okay? Because I think of the seagulls and I think of that mine, okay? It's holding on to too much old stuff that really needs to go. You do this and everything lightens up for you. Let's get your final card, which was the cut of the deck card over here. Look at this. Risk and reward. I mean, there is something here that's about the heart, temptation, okay? A little bit of, you know, unhealthy behavior that needs to be transformed. It's kind of hard to see, but there's like a snake energy in the background here. Okay, so there's something that needs to be transmuted here. 3322, in order for this to come into alignment, it's meant to be so that you can really step into the growth that wants to occur in your future. I keep getting doubles for you, master builder numbers. All right. So there's something that you're resisting here out of fear. Most people are afraid of snakes. A lot of people are afraid of snakes, but their medicine is very powerful. It's about transmutation of what holds us back from the kind of growth we're meant to see in our lives. It's also about being very aware energetically of what's going on in our environment and what we can trust and what we can't trust, what feels right, what feels off, okay? So there's something here you really need to look at, okay, about the risk versus the reward. And I think this is going to need to be, you know, weighed out for a little bit. You need to spend some time, you know, resting in that place of shadow and remembering, you know, using that owl medicine to remember the wisdom you've already gained from the experiences you've been through, where you did have to find your way out of the dark, where you did have to find a way through. You're not meant to lose those lessons, okay? I do feel like there's a reward that's available for you. There's some opportunity opening up for you, but you could be more inclined to just stay with something familiar or hold on to something that, though you know it's not really good for you or keeps you in a stagnant place, at least you know what to expect. It's comfortable. For some of you, this could be a relationship, okay? Somebody that you know is like, you know, I'm drawn to them. Yes, there's chemistry. Yes, but there's also a lot that's dysfunctional here, that isn't healthy here, that brings out the worst in me here. Only you know, okay? And only you can decide. But there is a new pathway opening up for you. And the only way that you can prevent yourself from truly stepping into this happiness and growth that wants to take root in your life through this opportunity in the spring, I got it. It involves some kind of movement from an old way of life into a new way of life. And there's a very important connection in relation to this, all right? You're going to have to weigh out the risk versus the reward and clear out the energy that's blocking your intuition so you can really get the memo clearly. Then you'll know what to do.